So let's dive into it. Think and Grow Rich. When did you get started with the book? How's been your experience so far?
Yeah, so what's interesting is I got started reading that book probably about 15 years ago. I was introduced to it by a gentleman that first got me introduced to a lot of Robert Kiyosaki books, and he said, if you like him, you definitely are going to love Napoleon Hill. So once I got a little bit of taste of Napoleon Hill, then I went to The Laws of Success, which you know is probably 8 or 9 hours audio version. Then I went
That's a thick
to
one. That's not an easy one. That's not a joke, man. That's some
No
legit.
joke. No
There ain't
joke
no
at
joke.
all.
It's like 600 pages. I'm
Absolutely.
still stuck in
Absolutely.
it.
Then I went to read How to Outwit the Devil, and that like blew my mind. So it's interesting, like this journey, because my wife and I just got married about 3 years ago, and I was at work one day, and she said, "Babe, you gotta check out this book." And I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And it just so happened, no lie or exaggeration, that I was going to YouTube to listen again to Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And she's like, it's called Think and Grow Rich. And I said, this is nuts. Like, there's no way that you're trying to introduce me to this crazy, amazing man, Napoleon Hill, and I'm already hip to him. And then now we're listening to it together. And she literally listens to it every single day. I listen to it at least once a week now. And from all that time, 15 years ago, the way that I have developed and become a man and learned the business and learned about relationships and people, every time I read it, I get something new. So it's just fascinating. Like, this is the type of book that will not only be in my library, but it will literally be laying in the bed with me for the rest of my life. No joke.
It's probably one of the only books that you could go back and be able to, in every stage of your life, there are parts that you can get. And I didn't know that originally when I started, because I was single when I started reading the book.
Gotcha.
So when I went through different, relationships, different businesses, different opportunities, at every stage, I noticed that I was like, oh, now I am able to use this part of the book, definitely. So it's definitely, I mean, he put 20 some plus years of his life just doing that. So, I mean, it had to be like that. So tell me, when you study it and when you go back and forth, what are some of the principles, or what are some of the key elements that helped you the most?
Yeah, I would say just, looking apart from just the stories that he tells about, like Henry Ford and Rockefeller and all these great individuals, just the personal journey that he was on when he first had that initial conversation with Andrew Carnegie, and to think that he was so persistent, so dedicated on this journey, knowing that he would help millions and millions one day that he would never see. Like, that's something that continues to hold true to me, and what constantly comes to my mind every time I'm on my personal journey of trying to get more money, trying to get more clients. I think about that gentleman that he talked about, the guy that said, what I would do if I had $1 million. And then he gave that sermon. Like, that continues to bless me, because his subconscious began to work for him. And he believed in himself so much that it did not matter who or what tried to defer him to other journeys. He said, I'm focused on this. This is what I'm going to do. And it's really about having this definite plan. Like he talks about, like, you gotta be definite with it. Like, you can't have this arbitrary data. One day I want to have this, and one day I'm going to do this. And then the aspect of, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to get it? What kind of service are you going to provide? So it's interesting that we're having this conversation now. Probably about, I would say about 7 or 8 months ago, my wife and I put this plan together. I said, by March 16, 2019, I will be receiving $50,000 a month. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to help Manny Hall and Associate clients through social media, creating custom strategies specific to their need. And because I provide great service to them, they're going to give me even more clients. I say that almost every single day. And it's been so life transforming. And sometimes I have people come up to me and say, well, Manny, what if you don't get the 50,000? I say, well, what if I get 25,000? Wouldn't that be great? And as crazy as I am with my tenacity of believing in myself and my dream, I'm going to get that 50,000 a month starting March 16, 2019. And it's literally weeks away. And I'm not even close to having it, yet I still believe it's so strong because Napoleon Hill, through that book, has taught me the value of believing in Manny.
Definitely. I mean, listen, if you don't believe in your own goals,
right,
then who's going to? So you sometimes got to question the way that I mean, he talks about it in the 17 principles for PMA, the educational version of it. I mean, you got to believe in it before anybody else believes in it. You got to be in 100% before anybody else gets in it. You got to take all the responsibilities before anybody else takes it. So you got to be the first on every single aspect of it. And if that doesn't work, I mean, I don't have any doubts. Listen. You are aiming for 50,000. Just because it doesn't come the first day, the first month, the first week, that don't mean the universe is not bringing it.
Exactly.
It's in the process.
Exactly.
You know, you can't be asking universe to, I want to buy a mansion. Like the construction people need to build it for you first.
Yeah, right.
Like the city needs to, you know, release the permits. Like those things take time. So the bigger the goal, the more incubating time it will require. But meanwhile, you still are there with 100% intention that you are going to receive it. So that's a big deal. So you are definitely, so you and I definitely need to talk because I got a couple of friends that would definitely, you guys could collaborate or we could collaborate on a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to social media. So tell me this. You've been studying it for 15 years. Why would you recommend people to read this book? Why is it that other entrepreneurs that want to make 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, why should they read this book?
Because when I look at every other successful person, I mean, we think about the Robert Greens of the world, even the book that he wrote with 50 Cent, The 50th Law, everyone from sitting inside of a jail cell to corporate America has literally said the way they got their success was through Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And it's such a powerful and masterful piece of work that is timeless. I mean, it's similar to the Bible. Like, you can pick up the Bible and it's going to be applicable to you in a different way that is going to bless someone else. But when they read it, when they listen to it, something is going to happen. It's no joke. Like, every time I listen to it, no matter what state of mind I'm in, I get something out of it. So I feel like if someone just says, okay, I don't have time to read the whole book, okay, do me a favor. Why don't you just read one chapter? Why don't you just listen to 5 minutes of it? I'm guaranteeing that you're going to get something out of it. Like, here's a funny story. A few years ago, when I first got on Instagram, I said, okay, I'm only focused on relationship coaching. Romantic relationships, people are hurting, they need relationship advice. I was doing that extremely well, built up 25,000 followers just by organic engagement, simply organic engagement. And shortly after, I said, you know what? I really want to help other businesses see the value of engagement, and that's how they can really grow their businesses. Well, Instagram didn't like that too much because they said, well, the algorithms say that they want to hear you talk about relationships, Manny. They don't want to hear you talk about business or Think and Grow Rich or anything like that. But I stayed consistent with my brand and what I believe was my mission. Again, help from Napoleon Hill. I stayed consistent with who I was at my core. So it's interesting that I started to lose followers, but I started to gain more money. I don't know how that happened. I started to get thousands and thousands of more dollars every single month working with my clients, although my followers continue to go down. But I'll tell you what went up, the engagement. The engagement continued to be strong because I was building relationships. And I think that that's another valuable thing to really insert about everything that Napoleon Hill talks about, and just kind of take an excursion over to Law of Success when it talks about the habit of saving, the importance of saving money. And now my whole life and my family's life have been transformed just with that one thing, to really understand the value in saving money. And that was one of the biggest things that Napoleon Hill talks about. And it's interesting that now, like, even someone like Gary Vee talks about it too. Like, hey, why don't you bring your expenses down And now you actually magically have more money to invest in your business and take care of responsibilities. And it's like, I'm totally disengaged from buying big houses, big cars, going fancy vacations. My wife and I are both tunnel focused to say, we have these goals that we're trying to achieve. We know what we got to do. It's not time to splurge. It's not time to ball out and have a bunch of clothes and new shoes and cars and all that. Let's stay focused. Let's get our money. Then we can get that stuff later. But if it really wasn't for my man, Napoleon Hill, and I really wish that he was still alive, I would give that guy a big hug, a big kiss, everything, because he has been such a huge...
I don't know how much he would have charged for a mastermind group. Just imagine that if he was still around and you wanted to... There would be probably a list of probably like maybe 100,000 people standing in line to just get into the mastermind group. But listen, he's not here. But the book is here. The 20 years experience is all written here. So it's definitely there. I know that would have been cool, but we don't have that option. But we got the book. So let's read let's read the book. Let's become successful and just give it forward. Let's just pass it on to the next generation. So not every single generation needs to experience it and then become successful. They could just read the book and kind of do the shortcut, jump ahead and be able to get to the results and be able to really fulfill their life in a different manner. Listen, Manny, I love it. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your busy day and being with us. You and I are going to be in contact. Hopefully, we'll do a couple of other collaborations together, brother.
It's a pleasure talking
and definitely tell your wife, I'm looking forward. Maybe we could get her on the show too. I want to get her on the female side of, relationship. How do you guys do this? What is the conversation? I would definitely love to. I know a lot of the audiences are going to like that.
She will love that. Okay, awesome. I appreciate your time.
You got it, brother. I'll talk to you later, Manny.
See ya. Peace.